Good morning. Welcome to the WEX Wakeup for Thursday, February 29th. I'm Christy Matino. Our top story this morning, congressional leaders in the House and Senate reached a deal to avoid a government shutdown. They came to an agreement on a number of appropriations bills, clearing the way for a short-term spending patch that would extend funding deadlines into March. The agreement came just 3 days before the government is set to enter a partial shutdown. The proposal would maintain the two-pronged deadlines Speaker Mike Johnson has advocated, but would extend the dates slightly to give lawmakers time to finalize and bring them to floor votes. House Speaker Mike Johnson weighed in on the news as it broke yesterday.
We broke the omnibus fever in Washington, where the Democrats, usually in the Senate, would jam the House right before Christmas every year with, 4,000-page piece of legislation that spends, over a $1.5 trillion. We have got to break the cycle and the way Washington works. We got to reform budgeting and spending, and we're going to have an opportunity to do that going forward because we had this hard fight right now.
And a Supreme Court decision to hear out former President Donald Trump's claims of immunity has angered many Democrats. Politicians denounced the court's decision to take up the presidential immunity dispute, with their responses suggesting they believe it is likely the high court sides with Trump. Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin called it troubling news, saying the Supreme Court's decision to hear the case will push back Trump's Washington, D.C. election obstruction trial.
I think that this is a perfect case for just denial of cert and letting the D.C. Circuit Court ruling stand, or a summary affirmance would even have been better. I think that would have been a very easy thing for the court to do, but instead they've thrown a monkey wrench into the schedule.
And President Biden had a routine physical yesterday, but that did not include a cognitive test. As the election approaches, many voters are worried about the president's age and mental fitness, but the White House is pushing back on those concerns. Our Hasten Willis reports.
President Biden did not take a cognitive test as part of his annual physical, and the White House says he doesn't need one.
The president doesn't need a cognitive test. That is not my assessment. That is not my assessment. That is the assessment of the president's doctor. That is also the assessment of the neurologist, who has also made that assessment as well. And, and you've heard us say this, and I'll reiterate this, the president's doctor has said, if you look at what this president, the president who is also the commander-in-chief, he passes a cognitive test every day.
Biden himself spoke about the physical, saying it looked similar to last year and joking that the doctors thought he looked too young. I'm Hasten Willis for the Washington Examiner.
Thanks for joining us this morning on the WEX Wake Up. Be sure to give us a follow on our website and social media so you stay in the know of all those headlines trending in politics.